I'm back with a monkey branching video. And this one is a wild one indeed. Not to mention, it's very long as well, so we're going to be here for some time. And I wanted you all to see, just look at the size of the email. He did not hold back. He's brave enough to share every single specification of his relationship. And this is wonderful because it really pinpoints the mistakes he made along the way, and of course, what she ended up doing to him. And as I mentioned in the title, Monkey Branching and Drama, it is the best way to summarize this topic because it's full of arguments, toxic behavior, obviously betrayal, bad communication on both ends. And it all ties together with the root cause, which is the childhood trauma, which you're going to see towards the middle and the end of the email, because she had a lot of issues, and of course, so did he. So let this be a lesson to all of you who are watching. You can learn so much from the experiences, the mistakes, and the successes of others. And if you apply it to your life, it's just wisdom. And you can make better choices when it comes to the relationship you have and selecting the right partner for you. So with that said, let's begin. Got no time to waste. Now, I'm going to keep their names private, of course. So we're going to call him Jimmy and her Jessica as per usual. He says, "Hi Christian, what's up? I'm new to your channel, but I like the honesty and what you have to say about things. I've got a weird one for you, and I'm pretty sure you'll tell it how it is, so here goes. This is going to make me look like a huge pleb, so keep in mind while reading that me and this girl did eventually meet up in person. It was kind of long distance for the beginning. And I've had a few girlfriends in the past, so it's not a OMG, first girl can't lose her kind of situation. We just clicked so well and things were good, which made this thing between us drag on." Well, I've read the email, so I'm just going to say it now. If you call this things being good, man, what do you define as things being bad? Because that's really what I'm saying from your experience. So he's from England, she's from America. He's 31, she's 30. Okay, so I've played Xbox in my spare time since I was younger, and that's actually where I met her 11 years ago on a game called Left 4 Dead. I played it. We both loved it and played in the community back in the earlier days, so we have lots of stories and banter to share from then. So obviously, at least in terms of your lifestyle choices, you have a compatibility because you like doing the same things. It makes it easy to bond over, at least for the time being, because you still need everything else, right? What about religious views, political views? Do you want a family? Where do you want to live? How do you want to structure your life? That has to be in tune as well, because compatibility is the alignment of all of those things. If you just have lifestyle, but you miss your outlook on family, on relationship, on life itself, it's going to make things difficult. He said, "We got on really well talking over the years and always had some kind of chemistry. So you started out as friends. That usually doesn't work well. We had some kind of chemistry, at least you could for online, I guess. A little later, things went silent between us for a few years. Then we reconnected properly around 4 years ago, adding each other on social media outside of Xbox. And then we really got talking. I always thought she was a cool girl and easy on the eyes. She's half Mexican, quarter Asian, and quarter white. Some tats and a slight scene style. Colors her hair all the time so you can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine she's got some mental illness. See, there's one thing for a girl to color her hair like blonde, brunette, dark hair, red hair, which is colors that humans have. I saw the pictures and this girl had one with blue hair. Now, if you look at the frogs in the rainforest in the Amazon, why do they have very bright colors? To signal to other animals to stay away because we're toxic, poisonous, and you're going to suffer if you get close. So she's kind of really projecting her mental illness on the outside, which you're going to see because this woman definitely has some serious problems. If you see women putting on the wacky hair colors, run. She had the sexiest voice I've ever heard, which made talking to her even better. Yeah, if she's got that Southern Texan accent, that's very attractive. I like that one as well. Has an amazing personality that catches everyone's attention as well, and I just loved engaging with her. We had the same taste in music, games, TV, beliefs, opinions, a lot of stuff, to be honest. Well, you don't really cover much of your beliefs throughout the email, which everybody watching is going to see. All you really go into is your gaming and TVs and movies, that's really it. And I'm sorry for anybody watching, if you can hear any noise, I've got my neighbour's kids running about in the garden and you can just hear them playing. It's the summer, what can I say? So if you hear any noise, hey, kids are having fun in the sun. Let's continue on. So they got a few things in common, again, very, very in tune with lifestyle, the things they do day to day, which is okay, I guess. But the deep things that really bind you, where is that? We start playing games together every day, and we would even say the same things at the same time, almost daily, which was mind-blowing. Well, that's just kunky-dink. It's nothing too special, really. You're focusing on the emotional things, and that's great, it's fun. Great minds think alike, or like attracts like in this case. Things got sexual one time on Snapchat, which wasn't the first time. Who was initiating that, you or her? Because if she's doing that, what does that tell you about? She doesn't really know you that well. It's on surface level. You're not in a commitment, but then she's behaving that way. Is that a woman that values her integrity? Or is she just caring about lustful things? Me. That's not normal. So, some stuff happened a couple of months after we first met, all those years ago. I initiated both times. Gotta control your lust. We just always clicked well and stuff happens. Yeah, I've heard that one before. Anyways, not long after she said she really likes me, good that she said it first, I said I like her too, even though we hadn't met in person yet. There was just a connection, Well, if you're doing long distance, you need to be on a video call. Because been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You want to be on video calls. You want to be on voice calls. That's the closest you can to simulate real person interaction. And of course, you need to find a time and date to actually meet. But in the meantime, you want to always do video calls. Because on a video call, you can read her body language. You can see the micro expressions in her face. You can hear the tone of her voice. You can read with her eyes, how she looks at you. That's what you want to do. Because if you're just texting or you're just gaming and you're talking, that's fun from time to time. But to really have a one-on-one, that's the closest you can do to simulate the real thing, the real deal. That's what I would do if I were you. Anyway, so when I started getting offline and going to sleep, she'd asked if I'd stay on the Xbox party chat with her, which I thought was kind of cute call. So yeah, I did. Kind of weird that she would ask you to stay on the Xbox party chat. That's what I'm saying. Why would she want to keep her Xbox running? And why wouldn't she just want to call you at the very least and maybe do it there on a phone? Bit strange. Whatever, so yeah, I did. One time she caught me out in a white lie, which I didn't even think much of. Honestly, I can't remember what it was, but to her it's the fact that I lied. Fair enough, but it was nothing important. Well, what was the lie? Because you didn't even tell me. I haven't heard from her for hours when she was at work, and I told my gay friend Danny that I think I messed up. He said if she really likes you, she's not gonna kind of screw you off. And that I shouldn't worry. And that was probably the first time I showed insecurities with her, since I straight up asked, is she planning to walk away over it? Because I hadn't heard from her in hours, when she would normally hit me up frequently. So this tells me already that you don't understand how to communicate with a woman. You said you've had other girlfriends before and this wasn't a kind of like a different thing, right? Yet you're 31 years old, you should know better. Because when a woman is upset with you and she doesn't want to communicate with her, you can't run after her. You have to give her the time and space, give her the freedom to sit alone with her feelings, cool off, play it over in her head, talk to her girlfriends, her family, whatever she needs to do. And when she's ready again, she will come back to you. You have to allow that to happen. But when a guy's insecure, as he mentioned, he showed insecurities, he's fearful that he's going to lose the woman because he doesn't think he's good enough. He's going to panic and he's going to try and force the situation. And that's what a lot of men, deep down, we're doers. As men, we get things done, we take action. And it's the illusion of thinking as a man that if he messes up or he makes his woman upset, he needs to run after her when she doesn't want to talk to him. No, you have to give her that freedom to sit with her emotions. And if her attraction is high enough, emotionally speaking, and she still cares, she will come back when she's ready. Because women's emotions come and go, they're like the waves. They're changing all the time. That cannot bother you. And especially if you've done something to upset her and she's not willing to communicate, give her the time to cool off. Because all it's going to communicate to her, this guy's needy, this guy's weak. Because if you're a confident man, even if you upset her, she knows, okay, he bothered me, but he's going to continue on about his day and he's going to wait for me. And that's actually more attractive to her. Because in a moment where she's doubting how she feels about you, and she remembers, you know what, this guy's strong, he's happy with or without me. He remains like a rock, he's like the mountain. He's solid, he's cool without me. Okay, maybe he just had a moment of weakness. Then she wants to come back with more attraction. But when you start chasing after her, and then you say, are you mad at me? And all this stuff like, do you plan on walking away over it? What does that communicate? You don't think you're good enough as a man. And eventually, if you do that enough times, the woman's going to have no choice but to agree. I just dropped a gem. Take it. Continuing on. So, anyway, she replied not long after saying that she's scared and something along the lines of, I'm in love with you, the world is yours, and if you don't like it, I'll rip it down and build it back up just for you. You've no idea what you stumbled onto with me. Oh shit, yeah, she's right about that. You've got no idea what you stumbled onto. For those of you watching, you have no idea what he stumbled onto. I mean, that right there is a true statement because she's really gonna screw you over. She said, I only have eyes for you and love for you. I'll always be honest, never lie, never let you down or leave you as long as you're good to me too, and a bunch of other things. That sounds very limerent, very fantasy-like in the early stages. You want to be very careful with a statement like that. That's something you could expect 4, 5, 6 months in when you're doing everything right as a man and, feelings, emotions are slowly developing. Because usually a month and a half, 2 months in, doing everything right, the woman is going to bring up exclusivity. She's going to want to see where it's going. She will develop initial feelings of romantic love because her emotions have reached that point where she feels safe with you. Now she's bonded, so that's where you will usually hear the first I love you. But if she's saying all these other things, it's just an in the moment thing. Because love is an action and it takes years to build up, if we're being honest. So when she's saying that first few months, there's some truth to it, but there's also a lot of emotion and feeling that is rooted in lust, how she feels about you at the beginning. Because she doesn't know who you are yet, truly. Not to mention, she's messed up and so are you, and this is really coming from a place of limerence. So for future reference, you've got to be very careful when you hear things like this, because that's very up in the air, Disney-like. Be cautious. Trust but verify. If she says that at the beginning, that's lovely. Look at her actions. Does she continue to show that? Yeah, you have no idea what you stumbled onto with me. Yeah, right. You're going to see now. So I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, it hits you. That's what it does. It's like love bombing. Throws you off balance because she pulled away. Now she's doing all of this. You're going, okay. Another thing, I talked to a girl a couple of times I used to be into as well at the start of us, which didn't help her insecurities, but I never hid it. She only found out because I told her she was on my Snapchat. And not long after that, I got rid of everybody who wasn't a dude. We both agreed we wouldn't talk to anyone else who wasn't a close friend and would eventually meet up to see how it goes in person. Okay. Then COVID hit, so planes were down for a while. While waiting to meet her, I got her into a game called Ark that I used to play, and we started selling on it through Facebook, making around 50 grand. We then split. Now, this is very dangerous because number one, you're in a long distance relationship. Number two, you're getting into business with someone that you don't really know. You do not get into business with someone unless you trust them with your life. Look at their track record. Look at their life. It's very well and good you both love gaming, but you should not be getting into business with a woman unless she is your wife. If you marry a woman, you vetted her background properly, and you know she has your back in every situation, and she's shown you that she's your support, your helmet, then you can bring it into your business. And she can administer a few things for you, help you, aid you. That's beautiful. Some couples do it, but do it when you're married. But with a woman even though you've known her for many years in terms of playing together online, you're not in a relationship with her. And when you really get to know someone, it's when you're close with them. Because they can't hide who they are eventually. If they're fake, they break. And if they're real, it remains consistent. So you getting into business with her is all cute and cuddly at the beginning, but you want to be careful with that. Because if she's not your wife, what happens if things don't work out? Now you're stuck in some contract where they're making money. Very, very dangerous. Get into business with a friend that you trust, for example, or someone else. So we also started talking through the phone on WhatsApp at this point instead of the Xbox group chat party. Well, you should have been using your phone at the beginning anyway, because you don't want to waste your time. If you know her and you've added each other on social media, it should have been, hey, what's your number? If she's interested, she's going to give it to you. And you should have been talking on there from the beginning anyway. Kind of weird how you're already doing business together, but yet then you're only getting your phone number after. You're jumping the gun there. Then we were falling asleep together on calls, waking up daily. This is very full of, very limerent, okay? Very honeymoon stagey. Even though we weren't together in person, it was the next best thing and felt right. Yeah, it's the closest simulation you have to a real interaction with her, which I understand. But when it comes to long distance, you need to have an end goal in place. Because eventually, either you're moving to America to live with her and get married, she's moving to you, you get married, you live together, or you find somewhere else that you both agree on and start your life together. But of course, before that, you need to visit her and vice versa, interact to really see what she's like in person. Some people make it work. There's a lot of success stories. People who started out long distance. But again, do you have the same values? Do you both have God? Do you know how to lead, protect, and provide for a woman? Does she know how to follow, submit, and nurture you? And if the answer to those questions are no, or I don't know, you ain't ready. You can learn, but if she ain't willing to, it ain't gonna work, because it takes two to move a couch. So you have to be very careful with these things. That's why just dating to see where it goes doesn't work. Because this is what happens. You never give them a background check. Or when you see things that are wrong, you turn a blind eye to it because you follow modern dating advice. Just have fun. Go with the flow. Go with the motions. Let things happen. Whereas courtship is, these are the traits I look for in a wife. I know how my life is going to look 5, 10, 15 years from now. I know exactly what type of woman I need because I know myself well as a man. And I've got God on my side. Therefore, I'm courting with the intention to marry. So when I identify incompatibility and or red flags, I'm going to cut that woman off. Bye. Just like that. And you don't waste time. You don't hurt her or you don't waste years of each other's lives. You're vetting from the beginning. If she meets the criteria, great. And if she doesn't, bye. That's how courtship is. Because you're laying the groundwork for marriage. And if you know you can't build with her, what's the point of keeping in touch with each other and interacting? It's a waste of time. So you want to be very, very meticulous with how you design your life. But a lot of guys don't consider this. And I'm telling you, because you're in your early 30s now. So you ain't got time to waste, mate. For future reference, of course. Because obviously you're not with her anymore. Thank goodness. But you want to take this stuff seriously, because most people don't. And then they end up wasting years of their life. Then it takes them another couple of years to heal from the heartbreak. That's not going to help you move forward, is it? This is just unnecessary drama that can be resolved when you vet the background from the beginning, and when you spot the early signs, the first weeks, first few months, I'm out the door, hit the road, you know? That's it. That's what it's about. Principle over emotion. And I repeat these fundamentals because it's not so often that you need to be taught, so often that as you need to be reminded. You look at the top athletes. Why are they so good? Because they know the basics inside and out, the fundamentals, and they keep building upon that. That's what you need to do, even with relationships, all of your interactions with people. It's based on principle. If you stick to the principle, you get good at saying no when you're supposed to say no. You get good at saying yes when you're supposed to, standing up for yourself, being a man. You put it into practice. You are what you do repeatedly. As a man thinketh in his heart, so he is, as it says in the Bible. So that's why you have to have God in your life. Because your relationship is very godless, which you're all going to see now. So we started watching TV shows together every single day. We went through at least 8 whole series, probably more. Sons of Anarchy, haven't seen it. Supernatural, haven't seen it. The Walking Dead, I stopped watching that years ago because it got so toxic and bad. And all the good ones. We wouldn't watch an episode without each other because it felt wrong. One time we were on the phone as usual, and she got home after getting some food to watch a show with me and found her grandpa on the floor in the bathroom. He'd slipped, hit his head, was bleeding and couldn't move. I'm sorry to hear that. That's actually how my grandmother died back in 2015. She fell, split her head open. She was too old. They couldn't operate on her. She was 89 then. So I can relate to her. That's painful. So she called an out. I stayed on the phone with her throughout the panic. Well, really, that wasn't the smartest thing. Because you're in England, she's in America. You can't help her if her granddad's lying there with his head ripped open. She needs to be there with people in person who can help her. But I know you were trying to comfort her. She called an ambulance, they came and took him away. It was bad news in the end, and due to the fall and head injury, he had a stroke and couldn't move half of his body. Now, she had to take care of him after this while her mum was at work, which also prolonged her being able to meet me in person, as well as COVID. But we still stuck it out through it all. Already, I'm seeing where this is going. It's funny how you mentioned while her mum was working. Where's the husband of the mother? Where's her father? Where's Jessica's dad? Funny how he's not in the picture, right? Where's the father taking care of his wife? Taking care of his daughter? There's no mention. Because if it was a traditional structure, the man would be working and the mother he'd be making enough, he'd be taking care of his wife so she wouldn't need to do that. So that already lets me know either the dad is a weak deadbeat, who's non-traditional, or he's simply absent from her life. And it's just the mum. What are you going to see at the end of the email, guys? So, little things that you find out along the way. Interesting. So, obviously you couldn't see her because of COVID and now the whole situation with her grandpa. So yeah, everything's on delay. But you stuck it out through it all. Time had went by and some of her past insecurities hadn't subsided and started getting to me a lot more than they used to. She even got funny about me watching Game of Thrones because of the YouTube-friendly NAKED scenes, with like more graphic content, adult content. And I thought it was a bit over the top to care about those scenes on TV because it's just a show or a movie. She would be paranoid about notifications on my phone, wanted all of my passwords, and even was funny about my apartment buzzer going off and thought there were girls coming to see me. Because I live in a block of flats and people buzz the door often, and when exactly do I get a chance to arrange meetup with girls if I'm on the phone with her 24/7? Exactly. I told her this, but it never seemed to ease her mind because those insecurities have nothing to do with you, it's to do with her. She's projecting it on you. Because this is twofold. If you've said or done things in the past that make her not trust you, she's going to feel insecure because of you. When your behavior changes, those insecurities subside. But if you're doing everything right as a man, you're faithful, which I know you are, there is no reason to have these insecurities, meaning it's not coming from you, it's coming from her and her issues. Wounds from the past, with bad experiences with men, lack of understanding, immaturity, childhood trauma, okay? Nothing to do with you. Therefore, it's her job to fix it, which is why in this case, you cannot ease her mind because it's nothing to do with you. And in some cases, people who cheat that are unfaithful think that other people are doing it to them, okay? Because cheaters, the way they see the world is everybody's out to get me and betray me, so I do the same to them too. It's sick, but that's how cheaters think. And in some specific cases, when a cheater is in the process of betraying you, they become very paranoid that you're doing the same to them. So they project that onto you. Who are you texting? Who's that notification going off? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And you're thinking, what's going on? Because they're worried. Because ultimately they're scared that they're going to get caught. They project that onto you. Be very careful with that. So yeah, those insecurities that she's showing, it's not looking good, mate. Not gonna lie, I love her too, but at this point that became annoying. Exactly. Yeah, he's a guy and he's telling you how it feels when a woman is insecure. So for the guys listening, imagine how a woman feels when she's treating you well, she's good to you, and you start being insecure for no reason. It makes her feel the same way. It becomes annoying. This is what destroys emotional attraction, the way you feel about each other. This is what erodes healthy communication in a relationship. Because when you're fighting, arguing, there's a lack of trust, lack of respect, there's annoyance. It shifts the connection and it breaks you apart. And unfortunately, in relationships, there is so much love lost with what is not said, with what is not communicated properly. And that all could be sorted with a simple sit down, direct eye contact, and a heart to heart. But nobody wants to do that. Ain't that sad? But I digress. Let's continue on. So she would always also think that I was defending someone else if I ever suggested to look at something from a different point of view when she complained about stuff. Another thing you don't understand, if a woman is complaining, she's ranting, she's being emotional. Sometimes all you got to do is just listen to your woman. She's not looking for your advice. So one thing you can do, which is a skill, train yourself with this, for you guys who are watching who have a girlfriend or a wife, when your girl's talking and she's rambling about something, she's upset, intercede, stop her and say, honey, would you like me to listen? Would you like my advice? And if she says, no, I just want you to listen, let her rant, pay attention, repeat back bits of what she's saying to show her that you're actually paying attention. And when she finishes, she'll say something like, I feel so much better. I'm glad I got this off my chest. Thanks for listening. And she'll go right back to being a sweet girl. This is similar to how girls are when they're young. They have a problem at school with a bad guy or problem with their girlfriends. They run to their dad. They sit on their father's lap. They vent and they talk about what the problem is. He listens, he nods his head, gives her a kiss and a hug. She gets up and she goes off running with her girlfriends, playing with her brothers and sisters as if nothing happened. She's looking for the security and the comfort. And when women become adults, they look for that in their man. They look for that safety. They look for that protection from you. Because as a man, you're masculine, you're meant to sit there and take it and hold it all together. That's why for us guys, we need that admiration and respect. And it feels good when your woman comes to you with her problems. But this is what you need to understand. If she's coming to you and she's complaining, listen. Because if you're just giving her unsolicited advice, yeah, she's going to get upset thinking, hey, why are you seeing things from a different point of view? Because she just wants to rant. She's not looking for your advice. Until she says, babe, what do you think I should do? What is your opinion? Then you give it. So you ask. And if she says no, you just keep listening. Let her talk. And her emotions will change. So, hey, there's another gem. Take it. So, but obviously in this case, Jessica's very toxic anyway. But regardless, it's worth trying when you have a good woman in your life. And for the ladies listening, they're going to agree with that because that's all they need. They want you to listen. They want your presence. That's what women value the most. My man is with me. When I'm looking at him, I know he's not distracted. He's laser focused on me. That's what they want. Your presence. Very valuable. She had a problem with randomly bringing up issues from the past for no reason too. Reminding me of something I'd stupidly said or done, which would then cause a bunch of drama. Well, when women bring up things from the past, it's usually because you're doing or saying something now that reminds them of how you made them feel in the past. It's not that they're bringing up the past to hurt you, it's you've said or done something now to hurt them. And women relate to you how they feel with relational experiences. So she's basically saying, Jimmy, what you did right now, or what you didn't do right now, you didn't keep your word or whatever happens to be, it's making me feel just as hurt when 3 months ago you said you'd do this and you didn't do it. Because she's using her feelings. Because behind it all, it's how you made her feel. Another gem for you to understand. You have to listen when a woman's talking. Because some guys think, why is she bringing this up? It's because you're hurting her in the same way. It's that issue sorted. It's resolved. But she's thinking back to on an emotional level. When he did this and that, it hurt. What he did now hurt. So she's relating that to you in the hopes that you will understand, when I did this today, it also made her feel just as bad 3 months ago. So maybe I shouldn't do this because then it's going to hurt my woman. Remember, women are passive. They are covert. They communicate in this way. Okay? That's how they communicate. They relate passively. As a man, you're meant to pick up those pieces, make it direct. Read between the lines. What is she saying? She's relating how you made her feel then is the same as you're making her feel now. I know you didn't understand that, but you know now. Go through my book. In the relationship section, I cover this. Okay? For those of you interested, the link is in the description. So if she's bringing up issues from the past, and most guys don't understand it, they start fighting and arguing with the girl with logic. When she's not looking for that. She's looking for you to understand her on an emotional level. That's it. So yeah, which then caused a bunch of drama. Well, this could have been avoided if you knew how to communicate to her, which obviously you didn't. Because that's what a woman needs for her to feel heard and understood. You understand her emotions. Go through my book, it's all there. When she complained about these things, I would end up getting so frustrated to the point of hanging up, drinking and ignoring her while she spam called, crying and begging me to answer. Yeah, because it's exactly what I was saying. You don't know how to communicate to your woman, so she's getting frustrated. He doesn't understand me. He doesn't understand me. You're not listening. And because you think it's to do with your ego, something you've done now, she's attacking you. She's not attacking you. She's trying to say how she feels. But obviously you didn't know that back then. And what you did here was immature. You're running off, you're drinking, you're hanging up the phone. You're just going to hurt your woman. And that's what's going to destroy emotional attraction. Arguments, fighting. Do you understand now how this can be avoided with good communication? Very simple. I have my coffee there. So, yeah, you're getting frustrated because you don't understand women. Sometimes I would even call her names and swear. That's worse, man. Looking back, I didn't need to do this. Exactly. But at least you're honest enough to admit your mistake. So you have a lot of problems too in your communication. Now I feel terrible about these things since I would sometimes ignore her for up to 2 days. The alcohol helped prolong it. So you're using alcohol as a coping mechanism. In these moments, I needed me time to chill and calm down, but her spamming wasn't giving it, which is the main reason why that stuff ended up getting dragged out for much longer than it should have. Yeah, but you're running like a little kid to the bottle and you're drinking, which is just going to make things worse. Because it's just going to numb you, but the problem remains the same. You need to get rid of the alcohol. And for those watching, he did send me another email telling me he's 75% giving up on the alcohol, which is a good step in the right direction. And you've got to remember this, people that get into substance abuse, alcoholism, things of that nature, a lot of that comes from trauma. And you may be thinking, Christian, what do you mean? See, when you grow up in a very toxic or unhealthy environment as a child, there's no stability, there's no peace, which is what you're supposed to have. Your body, your nervous system, everything is supposed to be in a calm, relaxed state for a child to develop healthily and mature properly, mentally, emotionally. And when that doesn't happen to a child, And instead, the environment is toxic. There's fighting, there's arguing, there's uncertainty, there's danger, there's fear. You don't know what your day-to-day is going to look like. Your needs aren't met. You're fearful of the future. What happens? Your body gets used to being in that fight or flight state. So when you experience peace and calm, you don't know how to deal with it. But as a child, you learned coping mechanisms to deal with the highs and lows. So now when you're in a relationship and you're arguing with your girl and you're experiencing these highs and lows, you don't know how to deal with it naturally because you were never taught to communicate, to sit there, it's going to be okay. You're taught to run, fight or flight. So what you're doing is you're drinking to kind of numb yourself from dealing with those emotions, from actually facing what is ahead of you, what's going on. You're running from it. So people that will grow up in those high cortisol, toxic up and down environments, it translates to the same in their day-to-day life when they become an adult. So when they're presented with a situation that is of this similar context, they're just going to go back to doing the same, running away from the problem because they were never taught how to deal with it. And in this case, he's running to alcohol, which is really just going to make things worse. He's drinking to forget, to avoid, but you can avoid the consequences of reality, but you can't avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. Let that sink in. Okay? So children that have a lot of childhood trauma, one of the byproducts is they engage in high-risk behavior. Gambling, promiscuity, drugs, alcohol. They get very addicted to certain things, which in essence are coping mechanisms to flee from the pain. Because the same pain you feel now, at least your nervous system can't tell the difference. It's the same pain and toxicity that it felt back when you were a child when you went through similar situations. Okay, your body does not forget. So unless you heal from that, those problems will still come out. So it's interesting. So with the alcohol, that's where it comes from with you. Because as you're going to see, he has some issues too from his childhood. So, yeah. I could never really get off the phone either, and the mere mention of wanting to go chill by myself for an hour or so, she'd be assuming I just wanted to go watch porn or maybe chat to another girl. Very insecure woman. My friends also started to become distant since I never got to play or chill with them as much. If I ever got invited for a night out, she would freak out. Yeah, this lets me know that you're not leading the relationship as a man. Because if your woman looks up to you, respects you, adores you, she knows her place, and you say, babe, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour. Me and the boys, we're going to go and have a dinner. I'll call you when I get home. She's going to respect you because she trusts in you. You treat her well. There's no uncertainty. There's no reason to not trust you. You put her at ease. Men lead, women follow. But the reason why she's not following you, there is no program. There is no program for her to hop on. A lot of guys say, I want a woman to follow me and I want her to do what she's told. Yeah, but you didn't even lead yourself as a man. So why would she follow your lead? There's nothing to follow. You're a boy. And when you behave this way and you're childish, you're jokey, you're all playful, you're not serious, you're not masculine, you're not calm, you don't communicate with her properly, you're getting emotional just like her, you're behaving like a woman, it destabilizes the sexual polarity, where you're not masculine all the way and she's not feminine all the way. It mixes those gender roles that God made. Men are male, women are female. And when you mix that up and you're not behaving like the man, she's going to react to that and kind of put on a masculine mask, so to speak, to compensate for the lack of masculinity you're showing. So now when you try and be a man, babe, I'm going to go out with my friends, I'm going to have something to eat, I'll message you later, she can't take it because you've given her too much control in the relationship. And the thing is, women don't want the power. Women don't want to control the frame in the relationship. But sadly, they have to do it when a man doesn't fulfill his role as the man. Because if you're not leading her, someone's going to have to do it, whether it's you or her. And if you don't do it, she's going to punish you for it. Because it's weakness. And so this lets me know that you weren't doing things right in the relationship, which from the stuff you already told me, this is even more confirmation. Because there is no reason for her to behave this way if you were doing everything right. And when you handle things properly as a man, she will submit to you, she will follow your lead because she's trusting you. You make her feel safe. She feels protected by you. You're an honorable man. Why would she doubt you? There's no reason. What you say is what goes. because you have a blueprint. You know where you're heading. Therefore, you bring her on life with you. You go together. She's happy to follow your lead because she trusts in the decisions you make. But when you're not doing that as a man, and you give up your friends, you've got no purpose, you've got no sense of duty, and you make the woman just the only thing you're doing 24/7, your friends are like, what's the point of hanging out with him? He's giving us up. See, when a guy doesn't have himself in order, his life isn't in order as a man, what happens is the woman becomes the only thing he has going for him. So now when she says, please spend time with me, you're too afraid to lose her because you don't have anything else going for you. It creates a very toxic cycle, unfortunately. And a lot of guys do this. They get the woman and then they give up everything. They give up their friends, they give up their hobbies, they give up the gym. And slowly but slowly, surely, she takes more power in the relationship, but she doesn't want to. It's because you're so weak that someone has to do it. And if it's not going to be you, it's going to be her. And when she realizes the guy's weak, she's going to cut your ass off. But it's like you're basically asking for permission, like, oh, I can't get off my phone and just chill for an hour. No, who's forcing you? You tell her, listen, this is what I'm going to do. If you don't like it, deal with it. See, as a guy, you're so afraid to say no to her, to put her in a place, to say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to spend an hour me time. I'll message you when I'm done. If you don't like that, deal with it. Get emotional, cry into a pillow. I'll call you back when I'm done. And you know what will happen when you actually stay firm as a man, even if she tests you on it, to see if is he really going to be strong? Is he really going to follow through? Eventually, she's going to submit to you and she will keep quiet because it's like, you know what? This guy says what he means. I can't play around with him. He's actually a real man. And she will respect you. And she'll respect your me time when you spend time in your man cave. That's what men need. But when you're acting weak in the relationship and all of a sudden you start acting like a man, she's thinking, what's going on? This isn't who he is. So she's going to test you. So it's up to you to uphold the strength in the relationship. Right? Let's continue on. So yeah, my friends start to become distant. If I got invited out, she'd freak out. And then we would usually make up a day or two later after me hanging up and things would go back to normal. And it's very immature. Without trying to sound vulgar, we did a lot of stuff online together, which is super intimate. Yeah, we don't need to know. We're going to skip that. Things were definitely good more than bad overall, but I would say we were comfortable in conversation and silence. Sometimes we talked for hours or just chilled doing whatever while on the phone. Now we're going to get to the monkey branching. Back to the game arc. People on there on Facebook on trading pages were always trying to get at her because she looks good, yet she ignored them and blew them off and would always of her own volition volunteer any messages people send, which I thought was unnecessary but still cool to do. If she's doing that, it's a sign of loyalty. She's saying, look, guys are hitting on me, but I'm showing you I'm faithful to you. Okay, so fair enough. But again, if she stops doing that, then you want to start worrying. Because if they're loyal, they're always going to show you that. Finally, earlier this year, she came to England to see me and stayed at mine for a month. She loved to travel, as she had been to Australia and Japan. So that's why she came here instead of me going there. Plus, I don't have a passport at the moment. You don't have a passport? What are you, a migrant? Are you in England illegally? Do I have to report you? What's going on? It was actually really good. It felt natural in person and we got on well. I took her around the UK. We got to do things in person rather than online. He says, sorry, Lamau. Yeah, you don't need to tell me those details. But I didn't do a whole lot with her. I think that made her more insecure. We did sweet things and random things like shopping. We even watched a whole series together. After all the stuff she talked about, she ended up being obsessed with it. And it also shows she had improved with me seeing nudity on TV. Because yeah, they were watching Game of Thrones and she calmed down now. It's like, if you see those things on the TV and you're a faithful man, you look away and you close your eyes. You're not lusting after that. But if she's worried about that, it's just a her problem. Because if you're not disrespecting her, there's no reason for her to be worried about these things. She did get a little bit pissy here and there, but it's a bit immature, wouldn't you say? I agree, it is. We did have a couple issues in person, but it was mostly good. One night she went through my phone when I was asleep, which upset me. She found drunken texts to my gay friend of me being weird and him laughing at me, telling me to F off and good night. Just things guys do, right? She wouldn't let me live it down. I told her if I was really that bad, seriously, and gave a shit, then it would have been deleted. That they're just jokes and to calm down. I stopped joking around like that, by the way. It probably isn't a good look being drunk or sober, to be fair. Now, there was around 5 days before she had to go back to America, and she felt a little distant. So I took her to the park, then into Liverpool, and we went clothes shopping and had a great day, and it definitely pulled her back. Next night we were on a date again, and she was holding my arm or begging me to come back to America with her. Please come back with me, I'll buy the ticket. While I pushed my head into her shoulder, said, I just haven't got a passport at the moment. You're a migrant, aren't you? You're a migrant. What's going on? What's going on, Jimmy? Come on. Where's your passport? So after that, we were in the restaurant and she's staring at me and I said, what? She replied, nothing. I just realized how amazing you are. I start laughing and she's smiling, blah, blah. Okay, fine, whatever. Things were obviously good when she left. But prior to her visit, I'd stopped showing affection for a while. I never really reassured her, and I think that all the insecurity, paranoia killed off some of my attraction in that way, if I'm honest, and made me withdraw a bit. Exactly. If she's constantly being insecure, it's going to grate on you. Because even as a man, you're not attracted to that. It's not sexy when a woman is constantly worried about what you're doing, she's not trusting in you. It's kind of like you want to be away from her. So it's natural for you to feel that way. I do the same if a woman does that. So yeah, I actually suck at these things too. I hear things stem from childhood. Correct. My dad walked out when I was 5, so you never really had a father. And I stopped doing things with her online the last few months as well. I don't know, I still wanted her though. So yeah, you didn't have a father. There's no mention of an uncle or grandfather or a stepdad. There's no mention of that. So if you never had a father, how are you going to be disciplined? How is he going to teach you how to be a man? How are you going to learn how to communicate, what to look for in a woman, how to behave like a man, how to handle your emotions? Because you need a father for that discipline, for that sternness to set you right. A mother really can't do that. She can love you and nurture you, but she really can't discipline. That's where the man steps in. And if you don't have that, it's no wonder you suck at communicating, you run to alcohol, you don't know any better. You're raised by a single mum. So it causes a lot of issues, I'm sure. So again and finally, back to the game we sold. This is where it gets good. Some guys bought off us a year ago and this one guy popped up, but was sending loads of money as a tip. It was obvious what he was trying to do. He was paying for a $40 order and was sending another $100, $5 order, sending another $50. So the guy was a simp and he's basically paying his girlfriend like, please, your majesty, give me a chance kind of thing. He's just a cuck, basically. And I got funny about it and it became annoying. A few weeks ago, I got off the phone to her on a late Friday night because things just felt weird and it was uncomfortable to be around her. The bad vibes and complaining have been going on for hours. But when you know something's off, it's off. Your gut doesn't lie. She told me there was nothing wrong. Yeah, sure. And there definitely was. And I'd had enough of the shitty energy since it was starting to rub off on me, so I ducked out. She then sent some dumb text bitching about everything, and I texted some nasty things back, which led to me just, pacing out for the entire weekend instead of the night. Funny enough, I actually started thinking over that weekend of how I should improve and handle things better, because I do care about her. We got back on the phone on Monday, and I told her that I'm sorry for all the times I messed up, and thinking how I'd been as a man and should handle things more appropriately. It takes a lot of courage to admit that. But what did she admit though? So I told her that I'm going to start treating her better, even if she gets insecure over things that I think are silly or say things I don't like, and that I'm also done drinking. Okay, good job. And then later that day, I saw that she had been playing a game with the guy that was giving all the tips the night before, which was suspicious. She stayed with me all of Monday still, and then she randomly started crying while we were watching a show together as well. Guilt, maybe? Oh yeah, I've seen this one firsthand. I remember my ex back in 2018, when this girl confessed to me that she did cocaine. The day before she confessed, she was like sniffing her nose. And I was so innocent, I thought, oh, are you sick? Do you have a cold? She was like, yeah, I do. And then she was crying. And I thought that was so weird, but something felt off because she felt guilty. And then she confessed the day after. So it's kind of like that. If there's no reason, why is she crying? Why is she acting weird? It is very strange, isn't it? So then she randomly starts crying. Guilt, maybe? And then that night I fell asleep on the phone with her as usual. I woke up Tuesday morning, she's not on the phone. And I also saw that they played again the night before. Is he the monk? Is he the guy she swings to? About to find out. She tells me she loved me Tuesday and was later complaining about a pit in her stomach. She says, I don't know, I just have this weird pit of dread in my stomach. She's feeling guilty. Some BS happened on Wednesday. I wake up, she's not on the phone. So that morning I sent a big text saying I don't want her playing with this tip weirdo anymore. She shouldn't have been playing with him in the first place, if she even respected you. An hour later I thought, screw this. I know this guy has his name on Xbox, so I went onto it. I yoinked it, put it into Facebook and found him. I've never done anything like that before, but I went there to see if she had put any likes or some things on his pictures, because something was going on. And then I found something much worse. On his Facebook, it said, in a relationship with Jessica, blah, blah, blah. I lost it. I screenshot it, sent it to her, and texted horrible things. 2 minutes later, I deleted it thinking, I'm going to wait until she wakes up and call her out on the phone so there's no time for her to come up with a BS story. That's a good way of doing it. She called and I asked if she's cheating on me. And she says, what? No. Are you sure about that? You sure about that? And I said, what? And then she said, what did you delete? What did you delete? She seemed very concerned with what I deleted. Then I sent the screenshot and said, what the F is this then? That's cold. That's cold. It's cold like my coffee actually, because it's been sitting here for the last 40 minutes. So she was speechless and apologetic and said, oh, I was tipsy because him and his friends were drinking, so I joined in on the Facebook thing. And I was only half serious. And that I didn't mean to start liking someone else, blah, blah, blah. Get the fuck out my sight. Get out. I said, we're done, and called her a money whore, so basically a gold digger, and then hung up. Even though I knew she wasn't that kind of girl who can be bought. Well, Jesus said you'll know them by their fruits. If it says this is an apple tree, but it's producing oranges, it's not an apple tree, mate, it's an orange tree. If you say she's not a money-grabbing woman, yet the guy was giving money and she went for him, that's probably what she is, at least now. But that didn't come out till later. Because you have your issues, you didn't even give this woman a background check. Okay, properly, you didn't. You didn't, because you should have never been with her in a relationship. She was messed up from day one. Yeah, so she's obviously running off with this guy. So, even though I knew she wasn't the kind of girl who can be bought, well, I mean, what is she worth? The Bible says a prostitute is worth a loaf of bread. You know, give that bitch a slice of bread and off you go. Excuse my French, I have to swear for this one because it's too intense. Even though I knew she wasn't that kind of girl, blah, blah, I was just very upset. I'm not sure if that's how I should have handled the current situation. You can handle it however you want. If you're angry, you're disrespected, you're betrayed, you get to say what you want. You get to be upset. Guys are so afraid of saying how they actually feel. If you disrespect me, you're going to know about it. If I'm happy with you, I'm going to let you know. If you cross the line, I'm going to tell you. If I'm proud of you, I'm going to show you praise. Act how you feel in a righteous way. If you're betrayed, what are you going to do? Pretend you're not upset? Of course you're upset. Hey, you betrayed me. Good riddance. You and me are done. You should never be afraid to express what's true. Don't hold that back. Obviously, it doesn't mean you be a horrible person and berate her, but you have a right to say what you did was wrong. You and me are done. And that's where it ends. See, as a child, you must have had an issue with expressing your emotions. Because for me, I didn't have childhood trauma. When I'm upset, I show it. When I'm happy, I show it. A lot of people who grow up in a toxic environment where they're not really given the love and praise they need, when they feel an emotion, it's shut down by their caregivers. So it's kind of like you have to bottle it down because you are made to feel guilty when you express yourself. So what happens is when you become an adult, you become fearful of making decisions by yourself. You kind of need someone else to tell you what to do because as a child, you weren't allowed to express yourself. And it's that transition from a boy into a man where it's like, mummy, daddy, what should I do? Become an adult. I know what I've got to do. And now you're angry, you're upset, and you're worried like, did I handle this situation right? I'm not sure how I should have handled it. You handled it exactly how you should have. You expressed yourself organically. You didn't hold back. That's what you have to do as a man. That's righteous. You let it out. You just say it as it is. You're direct. You're right to the point. That's masculine. So you actually did the right thing. You had a right to say those things because you were upset. So you express it. And when you express it, the emotion fades. You feel good because you got it out of your system. Because unexpressed emotion, it gets bottled down and it comes up in uglier ways later on. So you don't want to hold it in. You want to let it out. Oh, this video is going to be long, eh? Still going. So anyway, she immediately texted me how sorry she is and how she was going to tell me about it that day. But she only played with him that last weekend because I left again. Oh, really? That's a cheap excuse. Get out of my sight. Good riddance. So she was bored and alone, and apparently he messaged her asking if she wants to play. So she did, and they just clicked. Funny, what did you say at the beginning of your email? We just clicked. I guess she clicks with any guy she wants to, right? Come on, man. We just clicked. I didn't mean to start liking someone else. We haven't been in a real relationship for a long time. We just stayed together for comfort. He's just as messed up as me, if not more. He makes me feel wanted. She said all those things to you. Well, of course, some simp dickhead who has naked women in his profile pics is paying to get your attention is going to make you feel wanted. Of course, he just wanted sex. Very true statement. I agree with what you said. No holding back. Jimmy, go off. Preach. Preach. You tell him, boy. Tell him. Because it's true. You're saying it as it is. That's masculine. Then she says she loves me. Oh, get out. No. She says she loves me, that she always will, and that I'm her best friend, but doesn't love me romantically anymore. It's like, okay, why not communicate that when we're still good instead of trying to talk to me like that, but then come back quite easily? I don't know. I guess I just messed up in the end and couldn't handle her. You made issues with your communication because you had problems from your childhood that you haven't yet healed from. And you lack a knowledge gap when it comes to relationship fundamentals. But you've been loyal to her from day one. She hasn't. She's not a faithful woman. You were just the next guy in the line. You were fun, you were gaming, you kind of connected through the game because you just clicked, and that's really all you guys had in common. She was very lustful, very immature, a lot of insecurities. There's not one mention of her saying, when are we having children? When are we getting married? I want to spend my life with you. What is our future going to look like? There's no mention of you even mentioning these things. It's just meaningless dating that goes fucking nowhere, mate. Right? There's no fundamental courtship. And you said in your email, oh, go hard on me, don't hold back. I'm not. Because you were wasting each other's time. You have some physical chemistry. You're slightly compatible in terms of your lifestyle, the gaming, and that's it. You're messed up, she's messed up. That's probably what you're compatible in, which is wrong, because you need to heal from that, and so does she. You're not traditional, neither does she. Because if you're not traditionally minded, if you don't have those values which come from faith, you're not following God's design, his blueprint for your life, you're lost. And you make choices based on feeling and emotion, because the heart is deceitful above all things. The Bible says, lean not on your understanding, hold fast to God. You're leaning on your understanding, which has got you to the place you're at today, which is why you kept making mistakes. Look at her, she's been doing the same thing. You can see she's not a woman of God, and neither did you. However, the difference with you is, Jimmy, you are willing to learn. You have enough courage to write down this massive email, and say everything that happened, because you actually care about having a better life. So that's coming out of you, which is a good thing. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. Okay? The best thing I recommend for you is pick up my book, pick up a Bible. And if you do want, book a coaching call. I'll send you the link. If not, click on the website, link in the description. And for anybody who wants help, you're serious about turning things around in your life, book a call. We'll get started. Because you want to actually improve your life. She doesn't. You're looking for answers. You're looking for, why did this happen? How can I make certain this doesn't happen again in the future? She doesn't care. She cares about herself. You actually have, there's more in you. And I can see you having a better future. But it's up to you. Now that you've had this pain, you can use this as fuel. Because the best part of success is the come up. You can send me a success story 6 months from now. You've turned your life around. That's what I want to see from you. You deserve so much better because you're a good guy. There's just a knowledge gap you had. That's what it is, mate. And you'll be okay. He's English. He's got a good heart. He knows what he's doing. He'll be fine. Good attitude. So he says, what's the quote? Nothing special in life comes easy. Nothing easy in life is special. Something like that. A bunch of other stuff has happened since the breakup through the last couple of weeks, which is just weird. The day it happened, I drank a lot and I was very upset. Again, you're using alcohol as a coping mechanism. Go to rehab, get help. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in that at all. We could have spoken on the phone at any point in the day about everything, and I even arranged to, but then randomly blocked her. Well, you got all the closure you needed. You saw that she was in a relationship with the guy on Facebook. Case closed. That's it. Story's over. Continue on. Move on with your life. That's it. I was drunk, annoyed, and not thinking clearly, which isn't the best time to talk anyway. Later that night, I'm still drunk, and I saw them playing together, and sent a text trying to talk. And also sent him a text calling him a POS who should chase single girls. It's not the guy's fault. He's a scumbag. He goes for women like that anyway. But remember, your woman is responsible for the men she allows into her life. Think about it. If you're a loyal man, do you allow women to get close to you? No. You're faithful. No girl's going to have access to you. If she's really a loyal woman, look at my sweat. That's how hot it is. If she's a loyal woman, she's not going to allow other men to get close to her. Her loyalty is her responsibility. It's her duty. Doesn't matter if 1,000 men tried. If she loves you, no guy's ever getting close to her. He found her way in because she opened the door for him to walk through. Do you understand? He also lacks integrity. He's partaken in the infidelity, but it was she who allowed him in. Whether she told him the truth that they're in a relationship, that she has a boyfriend and things aren't working out, or she lied to him and said she's single, it doesn't matter. She is the one who betrayed you. It's like, again, go through my book. It's all there for you to learn about these things. So, and then you're drunk, and it's like, why are you going back to text her? You're going back on your word. You said to her, we're done, and now you're trying to talk to her. The very next day, I was hungover. I felt 10 times worse. Unblocked her, called her. She answered, said that dude and her got into a fight, that they broke up, and that he didn't know that they were in a relationship. She says that she doesn't want to be in a relationship with anyone right now. And then we text a few minutes later saying that there is no future for us, Jimmy. Then uninstalls WhatsApp. And then I saw that they were playing that game together that night. Block them on everything. It's really that simple. So 2 days later, I'm staying with my friend. I was all sad. My friend kept saying that she wants you back, that he was probably the worst person in the world to share any of this with, given his history, and that he didn't know her the way I did. Well, yeah, okay, he's your friend. He's trying to comfort you, but you're still making excuses for her. Oh, he doesn't know her the way I did. Mate, This woman is unfaithful. Case closed. Story's over. She's messed up. She was never wife material. She didn't have those qualities at the beginning. She was messed up. You were like two buddies playing games together. There's no actual polarity there. A little bit of chemistry, and it's just fighting and arguing. When people fight and argue all the time, either there's immaturity, a lot of trauma, and a lot of incompatibility. And mate, you had all three. Okay? That's it. But yeah, eventually I gave up and I replied saying that I want her back, I love her and all this. You shouldn't listen to your friend's advice if he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know what the Bible says? It's a very good quote. Proverbs 22 verse 3. A prudent man foresees evil and hides himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. If you were wise, you would have known it's over, I've got to move on. Instead, you just, I'm going to keep going. And you run back into danger. So she responded for a bit, then stopped, saying, I said to her, do you really like him? And she said, yes, I do. And she said, I loved you to the moon and back, but all of this leaving and swearing and tearing me just left me dead. I left a long time ago. I just stayed because it was comfort for both of us. I'm sorry. I wish I told you this sooner. Okay, that's it. So then anyway, he continues on. He sends me a few text messages of her being toxic. Again, you can see the picture of her with the blue hair, with her boobs out. This woman is messed up. She says to him, you're right, I did betray you. I'm sorry, I feel guilty. I missed the hell out of you. She sent him another message. Hope you're doing well. He said he didn't reply. And then they went on another Xbox call. And there was an intimate picture that she had sent to him that now this guy was using on his profile picture. So it's like, the situation is very messed up. And then she was talking to him again, and then she was saying, I can't be doing this because I'm basically betraying him. It's like very, very toxic, blah, blah, blah. All of this flaunting stuff, very, very weird. Anyways, because we're going on too long here, and he basically just said, like, she was my best friend who knew me better than anyone. We had a real companionship. That's the thing, companionship, buddy. Where's the passion? Where's the intimacy? Where's the love? I compromised a lot of things, even my friends. A real man doesn't compromise his principles. If you need to compromise your friends, your family, your hobbies, the things you love, you're with the wrong fucking woman, mate. It wasn't always rainbows and sunshine. It took a lot of effort, but I stayed. Yeah, but you stayed with the wrong woman. Foundation was wrong from the beginning. I still drank she was a rare one. Another thing, I used to drink to loosen up, but when it came to dealing with girls, but she was a rare one. I could actually be sober around 24/7 and not get bored. The fact that even before you could only be around girls when you were drunk is wrong. You're using alcohol as liquid courage to talk to girls. It shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't be drinking at all. You need to give up the alcohol because you ain't seeing things clearly. Anyways, most of the time leading me to act like a proper muppet, saying stupid things, drinking, yeah. And blah, 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 blah. Now I'm ashamed of all of that and I've stopped acting that way completely. Even though she asked me many times to stop drinking, and I almost went for a whole year without going near the stuff during our time together. I'm not addicted or anything. I never woke up needing it and can take it or leave it. The main issue is once I start, I don't stop for the night, which is a bit of a problem. My family loved her. My mum thought she was the best thing that ever happened. Well, your mum doesn't know what she's talking about either. No offense. Because I'm sure your mum would have seen like a superficial side, a sweet side to her, but she didn't actually know her like you did. That's the thing. And it's like, I know her more than your mum probably does from what I'm seeing here. So he said, I didn't appreciate her the way I should have. Yeah, but you both were not right fit for each other. So there was really not much to appreciate. I could also be wrong about how amazing I thought she was, who knows? Yeah, you are wrong. She did do me pretty dirty in the end. Yeah, she's so amazing that she fucking cheats on you. And then she freaks out when you spend time with your friends. Yeah, that's very amazing. Where's the mention of I want to spend my life with you? Where's the mention of, Jimmy, when are we going to build a life together? Where is this heading? Is this meaningless? She doesn't care about those things because she's not a traditional woman. Anyways, so this guy's come to weasel his way in. It doesn't matter, dude. She's the one who cheated on you. He was just the other guy. She was raised by a single mum who got pregnant with her at 15. Surprisingly, her mum ended up doing pretty well for herself. Anyways, okay, so she's raised by a single mum, so she didn't have a father figure, obviously. Of course, her grandpa lives with them too, but so there was a man around, but I'm not sure how much of an impact he had on her or from what age he actually moved in. Clearly very little, or else he would have seen the way she is. If he's an older man, he should be wise, he should know these things. She was, I want to be YouTube friendly for this, she was taken advantage of when she was young, which is a touchy one. And she said she was also bi and that she hadn't had many sexual partners, which I'm inclined to believe after really getting to know her. If she was really taken advantage of, that leaves so much trauma. If she doesn't get therapy, she doesn't get help, she's not fit for a relationship, which is understandable given the way she is. She smokes weed, which I was never a fan of, but I used to drink a lot, so yeah. And she doesn't care for social media much, which was a mega plus. Yeah, but then she's got a body out, covered in tats, blue hair. A lot of trauma, marking up her body like that. That's a lot of it where it comes from. Again, plus the insecurities, paranoia, wanting all my passwords. She had this attitude of screw life, let me give up already, which drained me to hear it. She doesn't have any friends in person other than her covered in ink, fake tits, lip done cousin who used to get around a lot. Apparently even sleeping with her entire friends list consisting of 300 people, mostly being dudes. Oh, we got a winner. I ain't heard that one before. Not in 3 years of over 250 emails, situations like this specifically. I ain't heard this one before. Over 300 people, mostly consisting of dudes. Nah, that's new. That you take the cake. For the month of August 2022, you win. You win. I dare someone to send me a worse monkey branching case study than this. That's insane. Although she's not like her cousin in all fairness, even though her cousin tried to get her to be. Yeah, she's trying to corrupt her. Bad company corrupts good morals. She wants to be just like her so she doesn't feel bad of her toxic behavior. Instead, she found it to be quite gross, thank goodness. The only friends she kind of had were people at her old work, but the only people she can stand and want to be around all day. Her love was, I guess, you could call it a hyper love. She was very smothering, loyal. No, she wasn't loyal. Sweet and caring. No, it was a very insecure love. It was limerence. And people that are mentally ill, people that have a lot of trauma and issues, they tend to fall into that honeymoon stage for longer because they can't distinguish between limerence and love. Because they make decisions on feelings, not on principles. They don't have any because they're damaged, unfortunately. Sure, they can fix, they can heal, but it's not your job to fix them. She even paid for some dates later on because she believed it should be 50-50 for a couple. Yeah, it's okay if she, a little bit at the beginning, it's a sign she's not a gold digger, which is a good thing, if that's the case. But when you're actually married, you lead, protect, and provide. She nurtures, submits, follows. You have to have the traditional structure because if she turns away from her, the role as the woman, the true role as a woman, she's not going to know how to treat you properly because then you're mixing and matching. Half man, half woman kind of thing, and it doesn't work, which your relationship is proof it doesn't. But at least it's sweet that she offers to pay at the beginning. That is a good sign. That she's not using you, that at least she actually is genuine. At least at the beginning, of course. And one more thing about the weed. I know she's been hard back on it since all of this happened. Do you think this could be a coping mechanism? Yes. And I'd appreciate your thoughts on I'd appreciate honesty, and that's what you seem to give. It's a strange situation, but I feel a little lost, confused, and somewhat hurt. I don't realize how much I cared about her until this happened. It comes in waves, but I'm sure it'll pass in time. Exactly. She was actually willing to move to England. Thank goodness you didn't. Thank goodness you didn't. And I was also going to pick up a passport. Thank goodness you didn't. So I ask you, Christian, from what you've read, do you think the relationship was doomed from the start, or could it have been fixed and worked on in the end, especially if one of us moved? No. If you moved, it would have just gone worse because then you're actually in person. So that toxic cycle would have come out even more, probably even been more violent even. yeah, it was doomed from the beginning because she was messed up, and so were you. Even if you'd healed and worked on yourself, she would have still been messed up. It still wouldn't have happened. And even if you sorted out your issues, you weren't compatible. Like, you didn't want to build and do things the right way. You're just moving in for what? You're going to move in and do what? Sit there and game together all day? What about having a family, leading a family? Obviously you're passionate about gaming, but there's no mention about anything else that you're actually full of joy of. Anything else that inspires you. What's your mission? What's driving you as a man? There's no mention of that here. So it's like you have to sort yourself out first, become a righteous man, and everything else follows. Thank you for taking the time to give your advice and insight. It means a lot. Well, this is one of the longest ones I've done, Jimmy. So guys, that's basically the end of the email. I'd love to know your thoughts down below. And for anybody who has a monkey branching case study, a success story, or any other experiences that they want me to cover to share to everybody else so that you can learn from it, send me an email, link in the description. God bless all of you and your families, and I'll see you all in the next one.